Gemini, navigating the void within and finding your true purpose in life. There are moments in every Gemini's life when silence feels louder than words, when laughter shared with others still leaves an echo of emptiness inside, and when the business of the mind cannot mask the deep question lingering in the soul. Why am I here? This quiet ache, this void within, is not a sign that you are lost. It is the soul's whisper, calling you back to a deeper truth. As a Gemini, you are born to dance between dualities: light and shadow, reason and imagination, restlessness and serenity. This duality often makes you search endlessly outside yourself, through people, ideas, adventures, yet the answers you seek are never truly out there. They are waiting in the sacred space within you, the place where silence transforms into wisdom. This journey is not about fixing yourself, but about remembering yourself. It is about realizing that the void you fear is actually the canvas upon which your true purpose will be painted. When you pause long enough to face it with courage, compassion, and curiosity, you begin to notice that emptiness is not a punishment. It is a passage toward authenticity, healing, and a deeper alignment with the unique mission your soul carried into this lifetime. If these words stir something in your heart, take a breath and stay with me. Let this space be your mirror, your refuge, and your reminder that you are never walking alone. And if you find resonance here, don't forget to share, and subscribe, because together we are weaving a community where wisdom, vulnerability, and transformation can bloom. To understand the void that often resides within Gemini, we must first recognize the unique architecture of your inner world. Unlike other signs that carry a single current of energy, you live in a constant dialogue with yourself, holding two or more voices in your mind at any given moment. One voice urges you to explore, to create, to run toward life with uncontainable curiosity. The other whispers doubts, reminding you of what is unfinished, unsaid, or unfulfilled. This internal duality can feel like a blessing and a burden, because it keeps you moving forward, but also leaves you wondering if you'll ever arrive at a place of true satisfaction. The void, in many ways, is the space between these two voices. Geminis often try to fill this space with endless activity, conversations, projects, relationships, and distractions. You are wired to seek stimulation, to drink deeply from the diversity of life. And yet, no matter how much you engage with the external world, there can be a gnawing emptiness that persists like a silence waiting to be heard. Many Geminis describe this as a feeling of being surrounded by people yet still feeling alone, of achieving goals yet still sensing something is missing. This is not failure. It is the soul's way of inviting you to stop searching outward and begin the sacred journey inward. Let's look at an example. Consider a Gemini artist who constantly creates new projects, painting, writing, collaborating, even exploring entirely different mediums. At first, this brings joy and expansion, but soon a wave of dissatisfaction arrives. The art is never enough. The applause fades and the hunger returns. What is happening here is not a lack of talent or discipline, but the confrontation with the void. The soul is saying, there is something deeper you must uncover about why you create. Are you seeking validation, or are you channeling the truth of who you are? The void will not let you rest until you stop running from yourself. This same pattern shows up in relationships. A Gemini might fall in love quickly, enchanted by the mirror of another soul, but soon feels restless, craving something more. This is not simply about commitment fears, as people often assume. It is about the deeper longing to find someone who sees not just one side of you, but both the light and the shadow, the playfulness and the depth. And until you learn to see and honor these parts within yourself, no relationship will feel completely satisfying. The void will always appear when you outsource your wholeness to another. So how does one navigate this void instead of fearing it? The first step is to pause and listen. It may sound simple, but for a Gemini, stillness is radical. Stillness means you are not chasing the next idea or the next interaction. It means you are brave enough to sit in the silence and hear what your soul has been whispering all along. Meditation, journaling, or simply allowing yourself to sit under the night sky without distraction can help you begin this practice. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, as if your mind is restless and impatient. But slowly, the deeper truth begins to surface. The void becomes less of a monster and more of a guide. The second step is compassion. Many Geminis turn their quick intellect inward, becoming their harshest critics. Why can't I just be content? Why do I feel so empty when others seem fulfilled? These judgments only deepen the sense of isolation. Instead, what if you treated the void as a friend? What if, instead of demanding answers, you allowed it to show you where your spirit is calling for more love, more honesty, more presence? Compassion softens the edges of the void and allows you to walk through it without fear. The third step is integration. Your true purpose is not found in choosing one side of yourself over the other, but in embracing both. The playful, curious Gemini and the thoughtful, searching Gemini are not enemies. They are parts of whole. When you learn to integrate these energies, you stop feeling pulled in two directions and start feeling like a complete being. This integration does not erase the void, but it transforms into fertile ground for wisdom and purpose. The truth is, the void is not a flaw in your design. It is the portal to your highest path. Every time you feel it, you are being reminded that your soul did not come here just to skim the surface of life. You came here to dive deep, to turn curiosity into wisdom, to transform restlessness into purpose. The void is the invitation to stop searching for who you are and start embodying it. Once you begin to face the void with presence and compassion, another layer of truth reveals itself. The void is not simply emptiness. It is the mirror of your unexpressed purpose. For Gemini, purpose is not something linear or fixed. It is a living, breathing journey that evolves with you. Unlike other signs that may find comfort in stability or singular devotion, you are meant to explore, adapt, and weave together many threads into one tapestry. And yet, until you recognize what unites all your experiences, you will continue to feel like a wanderer lost in 1,000 unfinished stories. The secret lies in uncovering the central thread of meaning that runs through your life. For many Geminis, this thread is communication, the ability to translate ideas into words, to connect people, to weave knowledge into understanding. But it can also take on other forms: storytelling, teaching, healing, or bridging communities. Your purpose is rarely about what you do on the surface. It is about the essence you bring to everything you touch. The void arises when you forget this essence and mistake the activity for the purpose itself. Think of a Gemini who becomes a journalist, drawn by the love of words and curiosity about the world. At first, this career feels aligned, but after a few years, disillusionment sets in. The deadlines, the politics, the grind of the industry make them feel hollow. They begin to question, did I choose the wrong path? In truth, the path was not wrong. It was the intention that became obscured. The deeper purpose was not simply to write articles, but to uncover truth, to give voice to hidden stories, to bridge the gap between people and understanding. When this essence is remembered, the void begins to dissolve, because a Gemini realizes their purpose is larger than any single role or job. This is why Geminis often change directions in life, sometimes to the frustration of those around them. You may be told that you are inconsistent, unreliable, or incapable of commitment, but the truth is, you are gathering fragments of a larger vision. Every experience, no matter how scattered it seems, becomes part of the mosaic that only you can create. The void appears when you look at these fragments in isolation, but when you begin to see them as connected pieces of a greater whole, purpose begins to emerge like an image forming from a puzzle. One of the greatest lessons for Gemini is that purpose is not found outside of you, waiting like a hidden treasure to be discovered. It is something you cultivate through alignment, presence, and integrity. When your actions align with your values, when you speak truthfully, when you create authentically, when you connect deeply, the void transforms into a wellspring of inspiration. Purpose flows naturally when you stop chasing it as a destination and start embodying it as a way of being. Let's also talk about the role of shadow here. For many Geminis, the void is intensified by self-doubt. You may wonder, what if I never find what I'm meant to do? What if I waste my life chasing illusions? These fears are powerful, but they are also illusions themselves. The very act of questioning, of doubting, of yearning, is part of your gift. It pushes you beyond superficial answers and forces you to keep searching until you touch something real. Do not see your restlessness as a curse. See it as a fire that keeps you moving toward authenticity. Another example. Imagine a Gemini healer who starts by studying psychology, then shifts to energy healing, then to astrology. Friends may shake their heads, wondering why they cannot simply pick one. But for the Gemini, each path adds a different layer of wisdom. Over time, these layers merge into a unique form of guidance that only they can offer, a blend of science and spirituality, intellect and intuition. What once looked like inconsistency becomes a signature gift. The void is what pushed them to keep seeking until the fragments became wholeness. When you stop fearing the void and start listening to it, you realize it is not asking you to find a single final answer. It is asking you to live in alignment with your evolving truth, to bring your dual nature into harmony, and to serve the world by embodying the wisdom of integration. Your purpose is not a role. It is the energy you bring into every role. And once you anchor yourself in this truth, the void no longer feels empty. It becomes a sacred space where your soul and your destiny meet. As you journey deeper into yourself, you begin to see that the void is not only tied to purpose, but also to identity. For Gemini, identity is never fixed. It is fluid, shifting, adapting, like a river that changes its course depending on the terrain. This adaptability is a gift. Yet it can also feel like a curse when you lose sight of who you are beneath the many masks you wear. The void often emerges when you realize that despite all the personas you present to the world, the communicator, the friend, the thinker, the dreamer, you still wonder, but who am I really? This is the paradox of Gemini. You are born with 1,000 faces, each one reflecting a different aspect of your soul. At times, you may feel fragmented, like you are never fully known or seen. People may only recognize one version of you, and you fear they cannot handle the complexity of your whole being. This fear deepens a void, making you feel like an outsider even among those who love you. But here lies the deeper truth. Your identity is not about choosing one face and discarding the rest. It is about integrating them all. The void becomes less frightening when you allow yourself to be multifaceted without shame. You are not inconsistent. You are kaleidoscopic. Think of a prism that refracts light into many colors. The light is still one, but it reveals itself in infinite expressions. That is you, Gemini. Your task is not to reduce yourself to one color, but to honor the rainbow you embody. This integration brings profound healing, because once you accept your own multiplicity, you stop chasing validation from others. You no longer need them to confirm who you are. You already know. Take, for example, a Gemini who has always felt torn between science and spirituality. At times, they dive into logic, research, and intellectual pursuits. At other times, they are drawn to mysticism, intuition, and faith. For years, they may feel conflicted, believing they must choose one path. But when they finally realize that their gift is to bridge these worlds, to bring the clarity of science into the mystical and the wonder of mysticism into the logical, the void begins to fill with meaning. They understand that their duality is not a flaw, but a mission. This realization leads us to a deeper lesson. The void within Gemini is not a punishment for being too much or too restless. It is the doorway to self-integration. The moment you embrace your wholeness, the curious child, the wise elder, the playful friend, the serious thinker, you stop fighting against yourself and begin to live in harmony. And when you live in harmony, your true purpose is no longer a distant destination. It is alive in every moment, in every expression of your authentic self. Yet, integration alone is not enough. The void also asks you to cultivate stillness, for without stillness, the many voices inside can become overwhelming. Gemini thrives on motion, conversation, stimulation. But if you never pause, you risk scattering your energy and diluting your gifts. Stillness is not the absence of movement. It is a sacred ground that allows your movements to have meaning. In stillness, the pieces of your soul come together like stars forming a constellation. You begin to see the pattern that was invisible while you were moving too fast. Consider a Gemini who constantly juggles projects, writing, teaching, socializing, creating. Their life looks vibrant from the outside, but inside they feel scattered, unsure what truly matters. When they finally allow themselves moments of silence, whether through meditation, nature walks, or simply closing their eyes and breathing, they start to hear the deeper voice beneath the noise. This voice does not push them toward more. It guides them toward what is essential. From this place, purpose becomes clear, not because they eliminated their many passions, but because they discovered the still point where all passions converge. The void, then, is not only a call to embrace your duality, but also a call to slow down and anchor yourself in presence. Without stillness, Gemini risks being a messenger who never listens, a creator who never rests long enough to see the beauty of their creation. But with stillness, every word you speak carries weight. Every idea you share carries truth, and every connection you make becomes sacred. The irony is that the void you fear so deeply is the very space that can hold you, heal you, and reveal you. It is the pause between the notes that makes the music meaningful. It is the blank page that allows the story to be written. It is the silence that allows your true voice to emerge. Once you embrace the void as part of your rhythm, you stop fighting it and start flowing with it. And in that flow, Gemini, you finally begin to glimpse the essence of why you are here. Not to be everything for everyone, but to be fully, authentically, unapologetically yourself. When you arrive at this stage of your journey, Gemini, you begin to see that the void was never your enemy. It was your teacher. It pushed you into questions others may never ask. It kept you searching when others settled, and it opened the doorway to a life of meaning that is richer than surface-level satisfaction. But the journey does not end with stillness and integration. It continues into how you bring your gifts into the world. For what is purpose if it remains only within you? Purpose is meant to be lived, shared, embodied. Gemini, your gift has always been the ability to connect worlds, between people, between ideas, between experiences. The void within you becomes sacred once you use it to create bridges for others. When you speak, you help those who struggle to find words. When you share your curiosity, you ignite the spark of wonder in those who have forgotten how to question. When you integrate your many selves, you inspire others to embrace the wholeness of who they are. Your purpose, therefore, is not just about what fulfills you. It is about the healing and awakening you bring to the collective. Think of a Gemini teacher who once doubted themselves because they jumped from subject to subject, never mastering just one. Yet when they step into classroom, they weave together history, psychology, art, and philosophy into lessons that make their students feel alive. Or a Gemini entrepreneur who once feared they were all over the place, but then realizes their ability to adapt allows them to innovate in ways others cannot. These are not accidents. This is a design of your soul. The void was only there to keep you searching until you embodied this truth. Of course, the path will not always be easy. You may still feel restless. You may still doubt. You may still wake some mornings wondering if you are on the right track. But now you understand that these feelings are not signs of failure. They are reminders to return to your center. When the void resurfaces, it is not because you are lost, but because you are being invited to deepen, to expand, to align once more. The void is cyclical, like the moon waxing and waning. It comes and goes to keep you awake, alive, and authentic. And perhaps the most profound realization is this. Your true purpose is not something you find once and hold forever. It is something you keep creating. With every choice, with every act of integrity, with every moment of presence, you shape your path. The void will always be there in some form, but now you can see it as the space where your higher self speaks, where the universe whispers, where your soul paints its truest masterpiece. So, Gemini, do not run from the void. Step into it. Breathe into it. Let it show you not only who you are, but what you are here to give. Your life is not meant to be a single note. It is meant to be a symphony, ever-changing, ever-evolving, always alive. The world does not need you to be certain. It needs you to be real. And when you live from this truth, your void becomes your vision, and your restlessness becomes your greatest gift. And so, Gemini, we come to the end of this journey. But in truth, it is only a beginning. The void you have carried, the silence that sometimes feels unbearable, has been transformed into a sacred compass pointing you toward your true self. You have seen how the emptiness you once feared is actually the fertile soil from which your deepest purpose grows. You have learned that your restlessness is not a flaw but a fire, your duality not a weakness but a bridge, and your constant questioning not confusion but a pathway to wisdom. The void has taught you to listen to your soul, to integrate the many faces of your identity, to embrace stillness as a source of strength, and to step into a world not as a fragmented being, but as a constellation of infinite colors. In doing so, you realize that your purpose is not a single destination or a perfect title. It is alive in your presence, in your connections, in your courage to embody both the light and the shadow. Every step you take in alignment, every word you speak with truth, every act of compassion you share with others is a fulfillment of that purpose. So when the void returns, and it will, as all cycles do, welcome it. See it not as an emptiness, but as a reminder, an invitation, a gentle nudge to return to yourself. The void is your sacred pause, your threshold into deeper authenticity. It is a silent friend walking beside you, ensuring you never settle for less than the truth of who you are. And now, I invite you to carry this message forward into your own life. Reflect on it, share it with those who need it, and allow it to guide you whenever you feel lost. If these words have touched your heart, let this space be an anchor. Leave your thoughts in the comments, for your voice may be the spark that helps another soul find their way. Like, share, and stay connected with us, not as an obligation, but as a part of this community of seekers who are learning, like you, to transform the void into vision and restlessness into radiant purpose. Your journey is sacred, Gemini. Trust it, honor it, live it fully. The void within you has always been the path to your truth. And now you know, you are never lost, you are only unfolding.